Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
An old college buddy of mine that now lives in Florida talked to me the other day, and he said that a man knocked on his door and was asking for a small donation towards the local swimming pool. So my buddy gave him a glass of water. I love that. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Come on, call in. Here we go. And a good morning to you and yours, Zeb Bell. Zeb at the Ranch with, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Get ready for wintertime driving. And, of course, some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them 734-6969. Right now, let's go to our phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir.
Are you the man?
I am the man.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Wheels. And right now, let's go to the weather forecast brought to you by K&R Rental. Hello, Roger and the crew. They're there early in the morning. I mean, they have to be getting up about the same time I do, about maybe 4 to get ready for work. Hey, I'll tell you what, 256 south, 600 west of Hayburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. Number to remember, number to call, 678-3122. K&R offers the best in tools and equipment to rent for the job that you need done. Yep. I'll tell you what, they've got it all for you. And if you're not sure what you need, call them. They've got all the experience and knowledge at K&R Rental in Hayburn. Right now, here's the weather. Right now, here's the weather.
I apologize, sir. It's not playing.
It's what?
It's not playing.
We'll fix it for the next hour, if you would, please. And I think we're going to be seeing some cool temperatures today with highs maybe right around 40, 41 degrees and sunshine. I don't think there's much of a chance of rain today. I'm giving you really an abbreviated version of the weather, and we'll have that fixed and ready to go for the next hour. But I want to say thank you to K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Roger and the crew always there to help you with the information about available tools and equipment at K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway, 678-3122. Caller, I'll be right with you. Stand by. I also want to mention and say thank you to Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. All your heating, cooling, and electrical needs are ready for you. I'll tell you what, better make sure that furnace has a new clean air filter so it can do the job efficiently of keeping your home nice and toasty warm. It's going to start chilling off here. And they've got it all for you right there at Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. Open 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
I apologize, sir. They hung up.
Would you stop apologizing and just let's get the job done? Okay, good morning, everybody. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Man, I hope the program ends better than it started. Here we go, Denny's Restaurant. I tell you what, Merry Christmas from Denny's at 611 North Overland, America's Diner. Along with Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, at 459 Overland and Burley with old Jeff and the crew. Listen to this. When you're over there having breakfast or lunch or dinner or whatever, go up to the cash register, sign your receipt, put your phone number on it, and you may be the lucky winner of a beautiful Flex Steel men's recliner. Woo! This is going to be something. Drawing's going to be on December 14th when we're over at Denny's for our annual Christmas party. I'll tell you, it's going to be fantastic. You can stop in anytime, all the time, at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Yep, America's Diner. Well, now, let's get some calls in here this morning at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There was supposedly going to be a meeting at the White House yesterday, and they were going to have all the heads, if you will, of the Republican Party and the Democrats were invited to maybe go over certain things on how they can work together and with the budgetary problems and making sure that everything's set by December. I think it's December 8th, if I'm not wrong, December 7th or 8th, to make sure that the budget's all set to keep the government running, which in some instances I wonder if that's a good thing to keep on running. But anyhow, Schumer and Pelosi did not show up. And hold on, caller. It shows the absolute carelessness of the Democratic Party. They're crybaby wannabes that didn't get their way, didn't get their champion, if you will, for Hillary, which I have a hard time saying champion and Hillary in the same sentence. And they're just nothing but wannabes that keep destroying and tearing apart working for their constituents. And it should be embarrassing for any and all Democrats across the country. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Who says there's no good news?
What do you mean?
You know, I just turned on the TV this morning, and the good news was right there. Matt Lauer was fired from NBC.
Why do you say...
happy.
Why do you say that with such an inflection of joy? Why did you not like what Matt Lauer did or didn't do?
Well, first of all, he didn't do anything. And then the second of all is he was operating way above his pay grade as far as I was concerned.
In what regard?
1 year when he was voted for the sexiest man alive.
Yeah.
Get real.
Yeah.
You know, that's just... to me, he was a disgusting person, and he'd try to grow whiskers and everything else to try to change his image a little bit. But he was a piece of crap right from the beginning. That's my feelings, but I'm a man. I don't know what the women think of him, but I thought he was a big pile.
You know, coming from you, I'm surprised at your language and your verbiage, but I'll tell you what, a lot of people did not like him. I was kind of on the fence one way or the other, whether I liked him, trusted him or not, but this situation, Keith, is not one to just look at with disdain. It's one to look at with great worry. Because another person falls out of a career, and then the allegations keep coming and coming. And you have to wonder, honestly, whether it's in politics, whether it's in the media, whether it's in Hollywood or whatever, you have to wonder how far is up as far as how many others are going to be accused and let go and careers are gone. It really is kind of a scary situation.
Well, it really is. But let's just take morality, for instance. Always morality enters into this.
Yeah.
And we just don't... You know, people, they get caught in the moment. Let's put it that way. A lot of times, I know really, really good people have been caught in the moment, and the flesh is weak, and they just did something they shouldn't have done, which they will regret the rest of their life.
Yeah.
But thinking ahead, wouldn't that be just a little bit smarter?
Well, I can't criticize anybody for their transgressions because I've got skeletons in my closet, and you probably do in yours also. We've all done something that we're ashamed of. We've all done something that maybe we don't want the public to know. And honestly, you've got to admit, I think that's true in everybody's case. But what's happening now? What's happening now in our land of the media just trying to have a scourge of any and all people on allegations? I'm concerned until you see verified proof, these allegations are going to run rampant. And allegations are a lot different, as you know, from bona fide proof.
Well, from the sound of this, the way it came on this morning and everything, this was an open and shut case as far as NBC was concerned.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not arbitrating with you at all.
They didn't investigate it any further. They just wanted to end it right there, and I admire them for that, but that's about the only thing. I think the next one should go as the guy that has Meet the Press. I just don't like him. He might be a moral person and everything, but he is two-faced.
Well, Keith, I know where you stand, and I applaud you for that, because you're not hedging. You're not keeping one foot on the middle of the yellow line and the other on the other side. I appreciate it. God bless. Have a wonderful day, and call me back. I always enjoy it. Thanks.
You bet.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Hey, I want to remind you, and I've said this so many times on my program, and yesterday afternoon a gentleman called me, and he said, hey, I want to ask you a question. I said, yes, sir. What can I do for you? And he said, what's the name of that place I think you had on your radio program that takes care of the septic tanks being pumped out? And I said, Dino's Septic Service over in Rupert. Yeah. He says, that's the one. What's their number? And I said, well, I don't have it right in front of me. I'll give it to you on the air in the morning. So I hope he's listening. 436-6526. 436-6526. And in Burley, 678-1638. Fast, fair, friendly service, doing the job that you and I don't want to do. Ooh, no. Septic tanks pumped, and septic tanks and drain fields installed, and sewer and sink drain lines cleaned. Oh, better do it before it gets frozen out there. And they got a great big truck that says, smells cargo on the way. Dino's Septic Service in Rupert. Give him a call today. He's a nice man. I enjoyed talking to him. Hey, if you're living at home, and you're a senior citizen, and it's just not the neatest thing in the world to get up in the morning by yourself, spend the day by yourself, go to bed at night, and worry about, the isolation and the safety hazards, and maybe not eating like you should, or taking your medication. Well, I'll tell you what, I know a place, Pomerell Place, a place for senior living at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. The number to call, and you should, to find out more, is 677-8212. That number again, 677-8212, Pomerell Place. A place for senior living. Very nice place, too, by the way. All right, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'd sure appreciate it. Denny's annual Christmas party is going to be Thursday, December 14th. Put that on your calendar. I'm going to be over there broadcasting my entire show from 8 to 11. Door prizes, Santa Claus. Register for a recliner from Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More with Denny's. Oh, I'm telling you, it's fantastic. 611 North Overland in Burley. Be there. Going to be a lot of fun. One quick reminder that with the colder weather, everybody's got to watch out for the ice. I really watch out for the ice. I hate, and I mean that, snow and ice. That's the word I use. When you're on crutches, or maybe you're using a cane or whatever, I mean, ice can be extremely dangerous. And watch your step. And if you do have a fall and you're kind of hurting and aching and everything, I know the place you should go, and that's Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. The number to call is 678-1191. They've got the best of physical therapists, the best of all the exercises, and the only hydrotherapy pool around. I've walked 1,000,000 miles in that pool, and it helps. They help at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, 678-1191. Really great people. Oh, boy. We should be very, very concerned this morning. If you're not, you're just not paying attention. North Korea fired off an ICBM missile yesterday. And they did it in the early morning hours, North Korean time, at about 3:30 in the morning. And it had the capability, now listen very carefully to this, it had the capability and the trajectory power to possibly have the reach of going 8,000 miles, which would include targets here in the United States. Now, no one likes to live in fear. No one likes to try to raise a family thinking about the most horrific aspect that could happen, and that's a nuclear holocaust. I remember vividly back in '63 with the United States-Russian standoff in Cuba, the fear, the absolute fear that was felt the night before this great problem was averted. I can remember where I was. I can remember what I was doing. I can remember my parents and their attitude and their speaking to each other about this subject. It was very, very harrowing. Right now, this mindless dictator, Kim Jong-un, doesn't care. He doesn't care who he hurts. He doesn't care what he destroys. He doesn't care. Now, the left and the liberals in this country are running around in circles like Chicken Little, tearing their hair out and grimacing about what Donald Trump does and what he doesn't do. I'll tell you one thing right now. I am so glad that this man is president of the United States right now, 1,000 times moreover than Hillary. Because this little man over in North Korea with a bad haircut and way overweight, Pillsbury Doughboy, it has to stop, and he has to be taken out. And when you start pointing the fingers as to why this happened, every single day I am on the phone early in the morning, starting at 5 a.m. our time, back east to a lot of the news bureaus and news headquarters, finding out what's going on in the world situations. And this one this morning is taking up almost all the ink and all the time, because people are afraid of what North Korea might do. And one of the comments that was made to me this morning is, and put the finger on the Obama administration for 8 years of absolutely doing nothing. Nothing. But what do we do now? What do you, the American public, think should be done? I'll state my opinion. I've thought about it after I heard some of the experts last night. I think, honestly, we need to go on the offense with this dictator that doesn't care. And if anything is launched over in that country, it immediately has to be taken out. We do have that capacity and ability. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. Because right now, he is holding you, your family, your grandchildren, future children ransom to try to be the dictator of nuclear holocaust for the world. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I wait for your call, which should be coming in, this is a very, very important issue, and I'd like to get your opinion. I want to remind you about Snake River Auto Body and Paint, Ken and Dan. These are the nicest doggone people I've met in a long time, and they've done some repair work on my pickup, and they are excellent. Snake River Auto Body and Paint, 404 4th Avenue West in Twin Falls. Wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. How about Streamline Precision, 120 South, 100 West of Burley, 678-9204. Tim and the crew They do it all. Excavation, underground piping, utilities, trenching, waste ponds, irrigation ponds, everything. They are the experts. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Streamline Precision. Pickett Equipment Company. Hello, Steve. A good old friend of mine. I've known him for over 40 years. Pickett Equipment Company, 976 East Main in Burley, with the crew at Pickett's, with the best equipment anywhere, anytime, and innovation that absolutely leads the rest of the farm machinery pack. They are the best. Pickett Equipment Company, 678-0855. And the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce, 1177 7th Avenue in Hayburn. Hello, Kyla. We'll be talking to her tomorrow. Don't forget, they've got a great gift shop right there at their visitor center with all kinds of made-in-Idaho products. Very unique, very special. Stop into the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce in Hayburn. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. Give me a call. Like I said, this North Korea situation it's got to stop. And this is all the more reason that I think if you're a Democrat and listening to this program and you say, well, all you do is just pick on us Democrats. Well, they should have been at that meeting yesterday. Schumer, Pelosi, the rest of them should have been at that meeting to discuss not only the budgetary and tax reform, but also this very dangerous aspect of North Korea. Did they show up? No. Schumer made a kind of a nickel and dime speech outside the chambers, and Pelosi made a nickel and dime speech. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. In a time of national crisis, and this is something to be very concerned about, the Democrats put their tail between their legs, ran in the doghouse, and slammed the door. Shame on them. Your thoughts? 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, folks. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
I have one word that'll describe Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer.
Be careful.
Childish.
If that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the polite word.
Yeah.
I mean, they're acting like two kids on the playground that doesn't get their way, don't get to play the game they want to play, so they're going to sit out and not play with anybody.
Yeah, but Doug, you know as well as I do, it goes deeper than that. It's party motivated.
It is. That's it right there. And I've heard several people say the reason that a lot of these people do not want Trump to succeed is because they've been there for 30, 40 years telling us that they've got the problem under control and they can fix the problem. Yep. When an outsider can come in and fix the problem, it shows that they've been inept.
What problem do they have fixed, by the way, my dear friend? What problem did they say they have covered? Have they stopped ISIS? No. Have they stopped the growth of terrorism around the globe? No. Have they stopped North Korea? No. Have they fixed the budget? We're so far in debt. I mean, please share with me what they've done that really merits keeping them in office.
That's just it. They've been there 30 years telling that they're going to fix the problem when they haven't even tried, and here comes in an outsider who is not a politician and fixes a problem. It's going to prove that they've been there lying to us, making themselves rich off of our dime.
Absolutely. You know, I really was not, and you know, you've been a listener of this program for a long time. I was one of the people that absolutely did not want term limits. I have reversed my decision.
Yeah. I didn't. I thought it was a two-edged sword, that you got good people in there that it would, it'd kick the good people out. But if they can get in, work for their term limits, and get out for a certain length of time and then come back in, if they're good enough, they can get back in.
You know, now right there you've touched on something that needs to be said, and then I've got to do a commercial break at the bottom of the hour, but not for eternity they can't come back, but maybe they can have a hiatus of 8 years. Let's put it at 8 years and see if that fits the shoe. I don't know, but I think good people can have the revolving door maybe in the future after they've sat out for a couple of years.
Yeah, that's very, very true, and like that one senator's wanting to put a stopgap on the tax deal. How about let's go the other way too?
Yeah.
If they want to put a stopgap, let's put the other measure in. If the predictions exceed what they predict, then the taxes will be cut even more.
Absolutely. Doug, I've got to run. I got another call, and I got to get a break in here. I'm late. My friend, I thank you for your call and your comment. Thank you so much.
Hey, everybody, it's the season of giving. Let's give to the senior centers. Let's help them what we can. Okay.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. Hey, caller number 2, don't you dare go away. Sit there, twiddle your thumbs, whatever. I'll be right with you. Don't forget Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. What a great restaurant. What a great bakery. Wow. And every Monday we give away a dozen cookies if you can answer the trivia question. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Hey, by the way, you want the best for your livestock, and with these colder temperatures, you know, the cattle need to maintain their physical attributes to the point where, you know, you don't want them backing off in the wintertime, and oh my goodness, then you can get all kinds of sickness and everything. A very important supplement of vitamins and minerals that your livestock needs, provided by Keelix Supplements. Keelix Supplements. Listen to me now. Scott Mitten, 435-230-1175. Call him to get the answers, and he can help you provide your cattle what they need. What they need. Chelated minerals for better absorption, a variety of formulas for beef cattle, dairy cattle, horses, sheep, goats. Call him. 435-230-1175. Keelix Supplements. Very important supplement for your livestock. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Ted. You know, John Kerry gave North Korea over $1 million to UNICEF just before Trump took office. And President Bush Obama gave North Korea $9.55 billion during his term in office. They don't need to come down on Trump at all. They need to look back at what they've done in the past. I didn't go back and research how much Bush has given him, but I know they've been blackmailing us for a lot of years. And we've probably poured billions of dollars, you know, more than I've said over the years into North Korea.
I couldn't agree more. I agree with you. And it's got to stop. Today, the plug has got to be pulled, and the tub has got to be drained.
That figure, $9.55 billion.
Yeah.
From President Obama.
Jerry, I think you're on a speakerphone instead of a handheld, and it's really echoing, so I'm going to have you call me back at another time. But thank you so much. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
I just took it off the speaker.
All right. Don't use those when you call in, please.
Okay, I just wanted to make a point. I looked that up this morning of what we'd spent there. You know, the news media needs to tell the truth. Tell what's going on. We get a little piece of what happens, and it is very inaccurate.
I agree with you. I got to run and do a commercial break, Jerry, but again, thank you, and I got to talk to you. I'll give you a call after I get off the air. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, you have a wonderful day.
All right, Jerry, thank you. I want to get in right now about our friends with the urgent cares. And believe me, they are there to serve you and help you take care of managing your health at a lower rate of money out of your pocket. I'm just going to tell it like it is. Riverview Urgent Care at 382 North Overland in Burley, Urgent Care of Jerome, 133 West Avenue A, and Urgent Care of Twin Falls, 2392 Addison Avenue East. They provide many, many services. I mean, drug screenings, and they can take care of lacerations and the stitches and the sprains, the strains and the fractures. Hey, let me tell you something. They are there, and they're open 7 days a week with extended hours. You get treated, not seated. No appointment needed and necessary because you just walk in. They're there to serve you at the urgent cares. I urge you to go into any one of the three, Riverview Urgent Care in Burley, Urgent Care of Twin Falls, and Jerome. They are there to serve you and your family and keep the costs down. So remember the urgent cares. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Also, while I have just a moment here, I want to remind you about Berry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts, South Lincoln and Jerome. along with Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Hello, Juan. Have we got Juan scheduled, I think, for tomorrow to come on the program? Don't forget they've got all the Bobcat excavators. They've got all the equipment rentals. They've got, oh my goodness, they got so much. They've got skid steer rentals. They've got all kinds of lift rentals. They've got it all available over there, along with retail equipment sales at all locations. South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Barry Equipment and Rental. All right, your calls are important to me, so give me a jingle right now, 436-2244. Wheel, something changed over there, the way it's being fed to me down the line. I don't know, you might check all your settings if you would, please. And calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Here is a story that I'm going to have to mention this tomorrow to our dear friend Galen Smyer, the superintendent of schools. But when I read this morning, this will just knock your socks off. Here's the headline of the story. Almost every graduate of a Washington, D.C. high school, Ballou High School, this year, 2017, the majority of graduating students at this high school did not attend more than 6 weeks of the high school year. Here's the kicker. And of those seniors, all of them were accepted to a college. What? This just absolutely blows my mind. Let me read this to you again so you get the full impact of a story that was posted by Amber Randall. The majority of graduating students at a Washington, D.C. high school, Ballou High School, did not attend more than 6 weeks of high school but still managed to get into college. And those who graduated from Ballou High School, it's a school that's located in a poverty-stricken area of D.C., and they said that almost half of the graduates had unexcused absences that totaled to more than 3 months of missed school. Wow! And they were all accepted to college? Some teachers who spoke to the situation said they felt they had to graduate, failing students due to the pressure from the high school administration. Other teachers said the lack of expectations allowed students to do what they wanted to do and not show up for class. This just blows my mind. 3 months of missed school, and then they're basically graduated and accepted to go to college. Please, somebody, there's something drastically wrong with this picture. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Once again, don't forget Merry Christmas from Denny's at 611 North Overland in Burley, America's Diner, and Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley with Jeff and the crew. They've kind of teamed up, and I'll tell you, here's what you need to do if you're going in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner at Denny's. Don't forget, sign your name on your receipt, put your telephone number on there, and you might be the lucky winner of a beautiful Flex Steel men's recliner. Oh, it's nice. And we're going to have the drawing on December 14th when I'm over there broadcasting that annual Christmas party. Thank you, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, Jeff and the whole crew, along with Thomas at Denny's. This is going to be a really good deal. Get into Denny's and register today. Okay? Let's see, what else have we got here? Oh, I also want to tell you a little bit about, I call him the Mouse Man. But I'm telling you, this man is so sharp when it comes to pest control. The company name is Certified Pest Control, and the number to call, 312-8577. They started back in 2000, and I'm telling you, they are the absolute best at getting rid of pests. We, a couple of years ago, remember how bad the mouse and the vole problem was for all over the Magic Valley? Holy cow, we got a hold of old Kevin, and he came over here. Woo! Mouse gone, mice gone. I'm telling you, it was great. And if you've got a problem, you get a hold of the best. Certified Pest Control. I swear by these folks. 312-8577. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Could I go back to this North Korean deal?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, I've been thinking about it. What you said this morning in your opening part of it, you mentioned that how North Korea was treating us and everything. They're pushing the envelope.
Yep.
They're pushing it. I go back to 1963, I believe it was, when we had the Cuban crisis. And the country was just on pins and needles because this could be World War III.
That's right.
And it was averted not because John Kennedy was a great man. It's just that he was smart enough to reason with people to show them what's going to happen if you retaliate.
Well, you know, here's the situation.
That's where we are now.
Yeah, here was the situation with John F. Kennedy and Nikita Khrushchev. And I have seen many, many newsreel stories about this, and I've also read a lot of commentary about this, and I've also seen cartoons, political cartoons, driven or drawn about this. It was like on the right side, you've got John F. Kennedy staring right into the face of Nikita Khrushchev. And Nikita Khrushchev blinked. Had he not blinked, you and I very possibly would not be talking about this right now.
That is so true. But you know, Zev, I've lived through the Second World War, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and now we're in this situation. But in every war except World War II, we have stepped back. You know, and it really makes me angry. I was talking to a veteran one time years ago when he was talking about when he was in Vietnam, and he mentioned the fact that if the enemy is on the other side of the road, you could not shoot at him. You know, and these were so stupid rules and everything.
Yeah.
How can you win a war like that?
Well, I've got to get a weather forecast in here, but I will say this. This problem with North Korea is a problem that right now has to be addressed, and it has to be finalized. Honestly, Keith, we cannot let this tarry because we've got to stop this man. If they have the capability with that missile yesterday of going 8,000 in projected miles, that would hit most of the targets here in the United States that they really wanted to hit and caused absolute misery and death here in the United States. It's got to stop. We have to stop him.
Good enough.
All right, my friend. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, I want to tell you, too, old Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy, they're having a great big extra sale, a big stock cow sale. It's going to be on Monday, December 11th, and it's going to be at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. And let me tell you something, boys. This is going to be a ripping good sale. 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. And if you have cows you want to consign, get a hold of Merv, 431-5735, or Cade Rogge, or Lance Udy. They will help you. They're expecting over 200 young cows, 150 middle-aged cows. They're going to have cows of all ages at this big stock cow sale on December 11th at high noon at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Don't you miss it. Absolutely. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated, but right now I'm going to do a quick weather forecast. Wheels, do we have the weather ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's say Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room with Dr. Christine Pickup. If you're noticing a diminishment in your hearing, be sure and call for a hearing screening. And don't forget, too, they've got a lady over there by the name of Katie Bingham, and she is the new patient care coordinator. They will help you. Don't go around going, huh, what? Couldn't hear ya. Check it out today at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids in Rupert. 312-0957. Here's the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for Zebeth Ranch, and honestly, it's rather nice for the end of November. I'm still waiting for those snow showers so I can get up there and go skiing, but here's your weather forecast for today. Mostly sunny skies, going to be a little bit on the breezy side, high of 40. Tonight, mostly clear and calm with a low of 22. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, high of 43. More clouds rolling in for Thursday evening with a low of 27. For Friday, mostly sunny, high of 47, looking at an overnight low of 30. As we look ahead towards Sunday, we do have a very slight chance of snow showers in the forecast. That is your weather for Zebeth Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And, of course, brought to you by our friends at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. I urge you to get a hold of them today for a hearing screening. And, they can help. They help me. They can help you. 312-0957. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, Zeb. I'll tell you, you have to look at what happened when the war was being fought. I had an uncle that was over there and run those big howitzers, but Douglas MacArthur was fired, and this war was fought under United Nations. We haven't won a war since we got into the United Nations, and this one was a police action. It wasn't a declared war by Congress, and this is what makes it bad. But MacArthur wanted to take out those bridges over the Yalu River, and my uncle told me there was just, literally they had the machine guns, had to keep stacking up the dead bodies because of the jillions of Chinese communist soldiers that were coming across, mainly because of those bridges were still in.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, he got fired because he wanted to do that. It would have ended that war, and there wouldn't be all of this chaos today. But, again, here we are with the United Nations fighting under SEATO, South Atlantic Treaty Organization, or it's NATO if it's in Europe. So our hands are tied because the United Nations, which has always been controlled by socialists and communists since its inception.
Yeah. But we can't look back now, Adrian. I know we learn from errors and we learn from our history, but I think you will agree with me. This is a problem of the now, N-O-W. It has to be addressed now. It cannot be exacerbated. It can't be let on the calendar. Well, we'll take a look at it December 27th or whatever the date might be. You have to address the problem now, because every day that goes by with this lunatic, this little fat man, it's going to be maybe a day too late. We have to address the problem now.
Well, and the first thing we need to do is run our own show instead of having to go to the UN and
yes,
begging on our knees. Well, can we do something?
Yeah, I agree.
They go to the Security Council. Well, the Security Council's got all of our enemies in there. I think we're the only ally along with Great Britain, and I wouldn't trust them very far either. And so that's the whole problem. We've been fighting these wars. Vietnam was the same situation. Iraq War was the same deal. We were within a few miles, like from Twin Falls to American Falls, to taking Baghdad during the first war there. So but you're exactly right. But if as long as we have to go to the United Nations and ask for permission, that basically gives them all of the heads up. It tells them what we're going to do and so forth. We just need to, I think you would agree, we just need to go in there and do what we need to do and forget about the world opinion, forget about the United Nations, and just take this fat little so-and-so out of there.
I agree with you, and I got to run and do a commercial, but you know what? There is no more procrastination. They can't. The missile test yesterday showed, and the experts have said, these are the missiles that can do us in. Whether they can carry a nuclear warhead or not, they don't know. But the trajectory and the mileage would hit any number of major United States cities. The time to take care of it was yesterday. Today is another day too late.
And the other thing, Zeb, along with that, all the Democrats that control Congress for so long, and, of course, President up until Trump, have rejected any kind of a missile protective shield. Oh, we can't spend any money to do that. We wait till they hit us and then, survey the damage and then go into another war type situation. But this time, we're talking major casualties, major fallout. I mean, I totally agree with you, and we've got to, forget about the UN. We need to get out of the UN because they control everything.
I got to run.
Like it or not.
I got to run. Thank you. Appreciate it. And I think he's right. Hey, the Bennett boys are going to have another great auction coming up on this Saturday, December 2nd, the Alan Wilding auction, located over in Gooding at 203 3rd Avenue West, over by the American Legion Hall. I'm telling you, you look for the signs. Joe Bennett and the crew of the Bennett boys. It's going to be a great, great antique furniture auction. They're going to have antique glassware. They're going to have all kinds of really neat items over there. So be sure and put that on your calendar to be there at 11 o'clock this coming Saturday, December 2nd. And that's the Bennett boys, Joe and the crew. No sale too big, no sale too small. For the Bennett boys auction, and with big sale coming up, the Alan Wilding auction in Gooding this coming Saturday. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What are your thoughts about some of the topics we've talked about here this morning? And I'll give you something else to mull over because it is Christmas time. I personally have seen this poster, I guess you can call it, but there were some churches in the Washington, D.C. area that wanted to buy ad space on the D.C. Metro buses. Now, by that I mean, you can have the different signage, etc. If you buy the ad space on the buses, it's all over Washington, D.C. And this one said, find the perfect Christmas gift. Find the perfect Christmas gift. And what you see on that poster alongside the words are the shepherds looking to the star on the night that Jesus was born. Find the perfect Christmas gift. And with the insanity and the anti-Christian feeling that's going on in the world and here in the United States today, the D.C. Metro buses and the head of that department said, no, you can't buy and put that on our buses. Isn't that a shame? It's not saying anything out of line. It's just saying the reason for the season. Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world, born. And you can't put something on an advertisement or a poster or a billboard, and it really looked nice. Find the perfect Christmas gift. And it was trashed. Your thoughts, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Right now, I'd like to remind you, too, about our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, and serving is the key word. Boy, service reigns supreme over there. And they always do the right thing because it matters. They've got all the tires for your wintertime driving through all the muck, the yuck, the snow, the ice, everything. And all the different tread designs for your cars, pickups, SUVs. I urge you to stop in and see any one of the 7 locations. Also, they've got the best in brake service and front end alignments and shocks and struts and batteries. Don't do like I did a couple of years ago. I didn't have my battery checked, and then all of a sudden I went out one morning and it goes click, 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 click. Make sure you get your battery checked. They've got the best at any one of the 7 locations. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. Yep, the best. Your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, and there's going to be a great big Christmas party for you and your pets. You know where I'm talking about? And that's over at Four Paws. They are going to have, and this is really a neat deal. I mean, they have different parties during the year, like for Halloween and everything. Well, this is the Four Paws annual Christmas open house, and it's going to be on December 9th, and it's going to go from 11 to 2 at 370 West, 200 South of Rupert. Number to call, find out more, 438-4444. Free pictures with Santa Claus holding your Doberman on his lap, and lots of good food, and they're going to have prizes to give away, spin a wheel for discounts and rewards, all of this and more for a big family fun day at Four Paws Annual Open House, December 9th from 11 to 2. Don't miss it. Really a lot of fun. Okay, now, here's what's going on next hour. We've got Dave Bigo at Indianapolis, Indiana coming on, and then Bob Nonini running for Lieutenant Governor for the state of Idaho, and he's going to be on at 9:30. Followed then at 10:06, we've got Tax Specialist Nationwide, Robert McGee, and then Immigration Specialist at 10:30, Maria Espinoza. All of this and much more coming up on Zeb at the Ranch for the next couple of hours. God bless. Have a good day. Stay tuned. Oh, good morning. Welcome back to hour number 2 on a good-looking Wednesday morning so far. And Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, reminding you to get ready for wintertime driving. And, of course, some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services,
They offer so many things to serve you, including also they have the Go Minis, portable storage units. You can call them up and say, hey, I need a Go Mini. Put it over on your property, fill it up. And if you don't have the room right there on your property to store it, they can put it over and lock it up in their property. You better call and find out more. 734-6969. Western Waste Services, it's true. They are always at your disposal. You get a hold of them today. Real quick, too, I want to say a Merry Christmas wish from a good friend of ours and a good friend of yours, and that's Doug over at Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair. He's been a great friend to the Lunch Bunch and to this program, located at 635 21st Street in Heyburn. The number to call, 878-4991. And Doug would like to say to all of his customers, he appreciates your business, and thank you so much for making his business successful, and he wishes you a very Merry Christmas. Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair in Heyburn. Really a good old boy. And talking about good old boys, let's not forget, of course, our friends Joel Heward, his family, and the staff at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. You know that it doesn't make any difference what time of the year. It doesn't make any difference what holiday. They are always there to serve you and your family, always, with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. When there's a passing of a loved one, there's so many things that have to be done, and there's such a short period of time. Just stand back, think, call their number, 436-5636. They can and they will help you. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, 436-5636. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and it is Wednesday, and we say good morning to an old friend. Emphasis on old. Dave Bigo, Indianapolis, Indiana. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Zeb, but I'm kind of this old. Are you saying I'm old?
Do you like antiques? You could sit right up on the shelf with them.
I had to give you a hard time. We are old friends.
Oh, my goodness. There is so much going on in the news, and the cesspool is getting deeper and deeper. Now Matt Lauer gets fired by NBC quickly overnight, and more politicians, Conyers, and many others. What's going on, David?
Well, you've got people out there being exposed by both sides of the aisle, and we're going to see more and more of this because I think the Republicans are starting to get a little backbone, and they're exposing the fact that the Democrats, they try to intimidate and control everybody, especially now it's coming out on the sexual side. And when you look at the list, there's been some people on the Republican side, but the list is much longer on the Democratic side, and that kind of tells you what you need to know about these people. It's about them controlling other people and getting what they want all the time.
You hit it right on the head. Controlling people and getting what they want, which leads me up to the next part that I wanted to visit with you about. Yesterday, Donald Trump had a meeting in the White House, and he invited everybody, the department heads of both parties, etc. And Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi decided, well, they just couldn't find the time to go. This carelessness of the Democratic Party, these crybaby wannabes, they had an opportunity to voice their opinion. They had an opportunity to look right into Trump's eyes and say yes or no. What's the matter with these people?
Zeb, as I've said many, many, many times, and I'll continue to say, it's a pretty simple thing. These people, it's their way or the highway, and they're going to do everything they can to get what they want through, and whether it's through lies or misinformation or intimidation or what it is. And if they don't want to talk to you about something, they just back out. And that's the same thing the unions did with me. They got to the point where they didn't want to debate me on something because they didn't want to get into the details. They knew they'd be exposed. So they quit debating me, and it's all about them controlling and intimidating and just ramming things through, and that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, but Dave, the constituency of the American people, we are at limbo. We've got so many things to worry about right now, more so than just the budget and tax reform and the health care. We've got a looming crisis right over our heads with North Korea and ISIS and everything. Why wouldn't they show a party that wants to get in, roll up their sleeves, and go to work? It makes no sense to me.
It's who they are. It's unfortunate, and I think a lot of the people that have supported the Democratic Party over the years are waking up to the fact that this isn't the Democratic Party they knew or their parents or relatives knew. And I think the Democrats are going to see a big revolution here in the next elections, because I think people are tired of their style and what they do. Instead of working to make this country great again and to do the right things for this country and people, instead of putting their agenda into place.
Dave, as a businessman, a very successful businessman back in Indianapolis, and you know a lot of these folks that are involved in everyday politics. You know Mike Pence, the vice president. What are your thoughts about the budget, the plans, the scope of what it will do and won't do? As a businessman, what are your thoughts?
Well, I still want to see some of the details come out of it, but I think they're getting too detailed on this thing, where I think you go in and just say, we're going to cut the budgets, we're going to eliminate some of these programs, and we're going to cut back on entitlement and welfare programs, and, straightforward, simple things that would reduce the cost. And I wrote a blog on this a few years ago. Some of these departments, they got so many people working in them that's crazy. We don't need that many people working in the government. And also, have Trump signing a paper that eliminates John Kennedy's executive order back in the early '60s, allowing the public sector to be unionized, Because you got a lot of people there that are sitting there all day long working, but they're working for the union.
Right.
They're not working for the American people or the government. And I think it's simple things, and I think they're making it much more difficult than it should be.
Yeah, okay, right there. But be a little bit more definitive for me. I've heard some of these Republicans that are on the fence, especially the one that irritates me the most, John McCain, say, oh, well, you know what, we might pass this, and then maybe Trump will have a trigger inside that tax plan that says, whoop, we're not making enough money now because of the tax cuts, so we're going to trigger some severe tax increases. I don't think I can vote for it. It's all pie in the sky. Why can't they take a formula and work with that formula and see if it needs to be tweaked and twisted in the future for the betterment of everybody, but right now get something through that's going to put more money back in the economy and in people's pockets?
Well, that's exactly right. And again, I wrote a blog on this, and I advocated a cut to about a 15% tax rate for everybody across the country, and get it back to that so that people have money to go out and start companies and build companies and stuff like that, and hire people and create jobs. And I also even talked about the potential of a national sales tax where the government brings in some money based on sales. But keep it very simple. Let's not have all these other things that they're trying to include in there, with increasing deductions, reducing deductions, and all this, and making it very complicated on people. Make it very simple and straightforward so people can go out and concentrate on their everyday lives and their jobs and their business.
Let me ask you something about that national sales tax, Dave, because as a businessman, you've probably sat down and dotted the I's and crossed the T's as to how it would work. But I'm going to say this, and if you think I'm wrong, correct me. In the case of a national sales tax, that may be the only tax that many groups of people in this country would ever pay to help support the government because they are below the tax structure rates to pay anything in. I think that would be a fair and equitable tax, don't you?
Yeah, I really do. And, everybody would have to pay a fair share, basically. That's based on what they go out and they spend. And, they can obviously go out and spend more money if they can improve their jobs and their incomes and stuff like that. So it's an incentive to go out and do more. And then, in turn, the government's helped out by that. And I think it's an opportunity instead of going through all this other stuff they're going through.
Absolutely. I mentioned a few minutes ago, and we kind of touched on it and then jumped to another subject, but North Korea. As a father, a grandfather, and just absolutely my later years, now that I'm 70 years old, and looking at the prospect of having a wild fat man with a bad hairdo over in North Korea control our destiny and maybe the curtailment of our future, what would you do or what should be done to stop this problem with North Korea?
I think we have to confront them and tell them we're tired of this stuff, and either you stand down now and eliminate the nuclear weapons and what you're doing, or we're going to come after you. Because there's no way. I mean, let's make this real simple. There's no way they can win a war with this country, and we could wipe them out before it even got started. And now we don't want to do that. We don't want to kill people and stuff like that. But at some point, you have to get their attention. And people like these that are running that country, the guy with the wild hairdo. It's the same thing I face with the SEIU. You got to look a bully in the eyes and punch him in the nose.
When our allies are starting to show great concern, fear, and anger, yesterday the Japanese Prime Minister was absolutely infuriated because that missile came down within their territory of water. You can't blame people for being nervous because the trajectory capability of this missile, had it been in a lower trajectory, experts said that it could have reached 8,000 miles in distance, which would have been to any of the major cities here in the United States. That is very fearful.
Well, that's right, and that's why you have to go in and you just have to stop it. And, I think Trump has to stand up and do that and get the support of Congress. And if we have to go take him out, we do it, but do it in such a way that we don't kill a lot of innocent people or anything like that. We got to get it taken care of.
What about China?
China is growing in that. I'm not sure that China is a nuclear threat or that, but I think to some point they can be worked with, and we need to continue to do that. And if not, then we may have to stand up to them someday.
And Dave, I had a caller last hour that's a dear friend of mine, and he brought up a really good point. It seems like us, the United States, thanks to the last 8 years of trying to pacify everybody with Obama, we've lost our macho, we've lost our John Wayne attitude, and quite frankly, being tied into the United Nations, we're so afraid that we got to pity patter around those people. I'm for one saying, get the heck out of the UN.
Oh, absolutely. And again, I think I mentioned this in a blog that I think we should get out of it, throw it out of this country, and eliminate it. Again, we got to be where we are in this world by standing up to the people who are bad people. Like the Nazis and Hitler and Russia and those other people. And we got their attention, and we brought them in and got them in line. It's like Reagan standing up and saying, tear down this wall. I mean, this is what you have to do with bullies, because that's the only thing bullies understand, unfortunately.
Dave, I was talking about a story first hour, and I know that you are a person that really values a great education. When I heard this, it was sent to me by a friend of mine at the Daily Caller back in New York, and it was written by Amber Randall, and I want to get your feelings on this. Almost every graduate of Ballou High School in Washington, D.C. was truant to the point where most all of the graduating seniors missed over 3 months of school, and yet they were all taken into a college and accepted by a college for a higher education. This is insane.
Well, this is the far left trying to control this country, and they want people in there like that, and so they can control them and move them in the direction where they want, and saying, we're trying to do the right things for you and show you the right way, and we agree with your actions, and we're going to give you this and all this kind of stuff. And this is how the far left and the unions, not all the unions, but a lot of the big unions, this is how they do things, and they sucker people. Let's put it simply.
Well, Dave, when you hear stories about this, though, and I did some more research on it, and I found out that of the students that were checked on, only 3% of these students met the reading standards. They couldn't even read the simplest of books. And some of the teachers who spoke out about this said they felt they had to graduate these failing students due to the pressure from the high school administration. Why are we putting kids on the street that can't say, look at Jane run up the hill, look at whatever? They can't read, they can't do anything.
It's part of the whole Cloward and Piven program, that to bring down America and from within, and that is brainwashing and controlling, over the last several generations of kids, and it's sad, and it's time to wake up and address our education program and get people back to work, and we're not going to give you for trophies just for competing. You're going to have to earn everything you get, whether it's in class, an A, B, C, D, or it's out on the ball field. You're going to have to earn it by working hard and persevering and improving your talents.
Amen. I hate to even bring this up because to me it's a lesser of the evils that we've been talking about, but yet it also falls into the category of the fragmentation of America and our values. I thought that maybe the NFL taking a knee, taking a seat during our national anthem was on the wane, but it's not. This last weekend, dozens of football players showed their idiocy and disrespect to our flag, and it seems like it's getting worse, and this absolutely worthless commissioner is doing nothing.
He's being intimidated behind the scenes. The NFL Players Association union, they're behind the scenes putting pressure on him and intimidating him and threatening him and all that kind of stuff. And you need people in those positions that stand up and push back and don't give in to these things. But this is what happens. And these people got to understand, again, you have to stand up to this stuff, and you have to expose it for what it really is. This has nothing to do with the social justice and, Black Lives Matters and all the other things that they're talking about. This is all about them and their agenda and about this country.
Yeah, let me ask you about that. Yesterday we had a story come across that said the Los Angeles Black Lives Matter chapter, they've been issuing memorandums and going around and talking to various black groups, etc., telling all of the blacks or the Negroes not to shop at any white-owned businesses because all they do is support white capitalism, which is promoted by Donald Trump. I mean, you talk about more racial divide in this country caused by them, not by you and me, but by them. It's getting worse every day.
Yeah, and this is what it's all about. The left fundamentally wants to bring down this country. And I'm talking about the far left. I'm not talking about everyday Democrats and that. The left, they believe that they're smarter than the rest of us and that they should control this country, and they're trying to do it by brainwashing a lot of these people and intimidating people into doing what they want them to do. And we're going to continue to see this, It's especially with Trump in power, because they fear Trump, and he's reducing regulations and laws that have helped them grow over the years. And now they're seeing a death spiral.
Yeah.
People that are in that position do desperate things.
Final thought, I've only got a minute and a half left, but have you ever in your lifetime seen so much absolute disrespect by the media to a sitting president? I never have.
No, but again, we're going to continue to see that because, and I've said this before, I'm sure on your show, I expose in my book why Glenn Beck's not at Fox anymore, because he went after the SEIU, and they went after Fox advertisers, and Fox started losing revenues, and the SEIU said, throw Beck out and we'll leave your advertisers alone. And this is happening to all the media across the country. They're being threatened and told what to do. If you don't do it, we're going to come after you and go after your advertisers and stuff like that. They are controlling what's being said in this country.
Absolutely.
And people need to wake up.
Absolutely. Dave Vigo, I wish you a very good week. I know you're going to be out Christmas shopping, trying to buy us that very special gift. We'll look forward to it. I probably will just send you another bottle of wine off the list of the 100 that I owe you. And Merry Christmas, my dear friend.
Well, same to you. Merry Christmas, and I hope you have a good time Christmas shopping, and you take care of your dear wife.
I will, my friend. God bless. We'll see you next week. All right, Dave Vigo, thank you so much. Good friend of mine and quite a businessman back in Indianapolis, Indiana, Dave Vigo. Hey, by the way, don't forget Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. You know, they're a mixed animal practice. I don't care if you got a little bitty kitty cat or you got a great big bunch of dairy cattle or roping steers, horses, whatever. They can take care of them. Big or small, they love them all and can take care of them all. One reminder is that it's very dangerous right now to let your dogs go down near the Snake River because of that blue-green algae. Keep the dogs away from the river. That algae is severely poisonous and can kill. So please, if you have any other questions, contact Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street in Heyburn. The number to call, 678-1177. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Ark Animal Hospital. By the way, also some Christmas wishes. Got to get all that in right now, and we want to say thank you. Merry Christmas from Golden Valley Warehouse, 468 West, 1000 South of Burley, 678-7324. They're in the business of selling quality seed to quality people, and they say Merry Christmas to all their customers, Golden Valley Warehouse. Along with our friends at Streamline Precision, 120 South, 100 West of Burley, I'm telling you, they can build everything. Dairy parlors, free stalls, robotic barns, feed lanes, calving facilities. The list goes on and on. They are the best. Remember, Streamline Precision, 120 South, 100 West of Burley, and Merry Christmas. Along with our friend Joe Taylor, the best doggone real estate agent around, 425 Overland in Burley, 678-9400. I've known Joe for a long time. He is the best. Joe Taylor, wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Along with our friends over at Oakley, Clark's for Shopping at 100 East Main Street in Oakley. And don't forget, they've got that world-famous great-grandma's recipe for the best sausage around, bulk patties or links. Clark's for Shopping in Oakley, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. In just a moment, we're going to have a gentleman by the name of Bob Nannini on the air. He's running for Idaho Lieutenant Governor. We're going to have him on our program in just a few seconds. But while I have a moment, I also want to remind you about our dear friends over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. And they're helping us with a great big Christmas celebration over at Denny's at 611 Overland in Burley. And they have helped donate a great big, beautiful Flex Steel men's recliner. Oh my goodness, Jeff, thank you very much. We'll tell you more about that later, but right now, also want to remind you that get ready for the Christmas holidays. They've got all the new floor coverings, carpet, vinyl, luxury vinyl planks, everything you need to really spruce up that home. All the relatives coming over and your friends. You're going to absolutely love everything they offer, from all the name brand furniture all the way to the carpet. They've got it all at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see those good folks today. Hello, Bob. How are you? I'll get you on the microphone in just a minute. Take that mic and move it over real close. You're a big guy, so you're going to have to turn that up. Just there you go. Hold it real close. I've got cheap equipment here, so you're going to have to bear with me. Also want to remind you about our friends over at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and they're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, open Saturdays, 9 to 4. They've got all the new 2018 snowmobiles to go up there and have fun in the Angel Dandruff, and I'll tell you what, they've got all the four-wheelers, they got all the side-by-sides, they've got it all for you, including all the accessories that you need for gift-giving this Christmas time. Don't forget, too, best doggone service department around to keep you running. These are good people with a great showroom just chock full of everything you're looking for at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. It's true. This is where the fun is sold. And right now with me in the studio, came all the way down from northern Idaho. Holy smokes. Bob Nannini, how are you?
I'm well this morning, and thank you, Zeb, for having me on this morning.
What in the world? You're running for lieutenant governor, right?
Yes, I am.
So the big push is on.
The big push is on. What a state. I've been traveling the state for the last 6 weeks and spending this week in the Magic Valley area and having a great time.
Now, currently you're also a senator, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that.
I have served, this is starting my 14th year in the Idaho legislature. I did 8 years in the Idaho House and starting my 6th year in the Idaho Senate.
I see.
And so I want to just have a larger platform to talk about my conservative ideas in Idaho, and I think the lieutenant governor's seat will give me that platform.
Okay. So you want to leave the Senate and become the lieutenant governor, and I'll bet you a dime to a donut that a lot of people in the audience, Bob, really don't know what the lieutenant governor is responsible for in that job. What is it?
Well, constitutionally in Idaho, two responsibilities. The first is to preside over the Senate when the Senate's in session.
So you're the one that brings down the gavel.
I'm the one that brings down the gavel.
And tells some of the radicals to shut up and sit down.
Well, no, I would probably tell some of the radicals to stand up and say more.
I love it.
Tell some of the moderates to sit down and shut up and let the radicals speak for a while.
I'm beginning to like you more.
And then secondly, you preside as the governor if the governor's out of state or out of country.
Okay.
And so those are the two constitutional responsibilities. But there's many other things that the governor would have you do or that you can do to promote things for Idaho.
Oh, so you got to have your A game in your hip pocket.
I'll always have it with me.
And ready to go.
Always.
Okay. Why do you want to be the lieutenant governor? I mean, you said just a minute ago you wanted to step up and have a larger platform. What is your platform?
My platform is education, economic development, and quality, affordable health care. And when I say education, in my 14 years in the legislature, I have always served on the education committees in the House and the Senate. I spent 6 years in the House as the chairman of the House Education Committee. I support charter schools. I support private schools. I support tax credits. At the end of the day, I support parental choice.
Bingo.
Parents that should choose how they want to educate their children, not the government. And whether that's homeschooling, public school, charter school, private school. And I've worked for a number of years on tax credits in Idaho because we cannot do vouchers in Idaho because of the Blaine Amendment in our Constitution.
Right.
And we've got that bill passed twice in the Idaho House, and I have troubles getting it through the Senate, but continue to work on that, and a big supporter of parental choice.
Let me ask you something, Bob, and I'm pretty blunt on this program. If people don't like it, they can turn the dial, okay?
Okay.
What did you think? Were you listening out in the other room at all?
I wasn't. I was talking with your wife.
Okay, but now, there was a story that came out this morning, and it's very disconcerting to me, that at a school in Washington, D.C., I know this is out of the realm of your power or whatever, but a high school in Washington, D.C. by the name of Ballou High School, almost every graduate of that D.C. high school was truant up to 3 months, each student, and they still graduated and were accepted to a college.
Well, it wouldn't happen in Idaho.
It can't.
It can't because they can't meet standards, whether they're national standards, which I'm not a supporter of Common Core at all, a supporter of state standards. But for that kind of truancy rate and still graduate...
How do they get away with this?
It's that state or it's D.C. In fact, D.C. is a good example, Zeb. They spend some of the largest amounts of money for students in K-12 as any state does in the country,
really?
Them in New Jersey, and have some of the worst results. And what has always ticked me off, and I'll be blunt too, so I hope I don't offend your...
No, don't worry about that at all. Just shoot from the hip.
Okay. Idaho gets criticized for being 48th in funding. We never get credit for being in the middle of the pack or higher than that for our testing.
That's right.
It's not what you spend, it's what the outcomes are.
Bingo.
And so we need to have more recognition for that, because if we're efficient in what we do and we hold teachers accountable, we can still educate the children and not spend a fortune and end up like your example of Washington, D.C.
You can't throw money at a subject and expect the subject to come away lily white and all educated. You can't. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work. And my frustration has been, and I shared it with your wife when I was visiting with her, I have served, as I said, all 14 years on the education committees.
Yeah.
And so during the Great Recession, we cut the education budget. The teachers union hated me. And I am proud of the fact that I have wore that big target on my back, and I have stayed on the education committee, because you need conservatives when it's the biggest part of our state budget. We spend 50% of the state budget on K-12.
Actually, it's even a little more.
Well, it varies 49
to 50.
Yeah, a couple
of percentage points here and there.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's throw in higher ed.
Yeah.
The community colleges, Lewis and Clark State College, and the universities, 63%.
Yeah.
63% of our state budget goes to education.
One of the worst commercials I ever saw in my life, and I want you to respond to this, happened right here in the state of Idaho, and it was on, I think, all the TV networks about a year or 2 years ago, showing our kids, our Idaho high school kids and elementary, getting dropped off of school bus out in the middle of the desert as if they had no education and they didn't know where to go. You know what? That really offended me, because both my kids graduated from schools and colleges in this state, and they're doing very well.
Well, and I'm very familiar with that ad, and that was sponsored and paid for by the Albertsons Foundation, and they have taken a lot of criticism.
They should.
Well, and they have, and to their credit, they have spent a few $100 million over the last 20 years trying to move the needle. And guess what, Zeb? That needle has not moved because of the fight with the establishment, the fight with the teachers union. And we need to sit down and say, here is what's working. And Arizona has worked on some things. Here's a good example in Nevada. In fact, they have education savings accounts, and we've worked on that in Idaho, and it was just proven that the education savings accounts in Nevada are requiring the private school facilities to do standardized testing. No way are we going to require private schools to do standardized testing. The private schools do a phenomenal job in Idaho, to the point that years ago when I chaired the House Ed Committee, a senator from northern Idaho proposed that all homeschoolers be put into a public school to be tested once a year. And I said to that former senator, why would you want that? She was concerned that the homeschoolers weren't keeping up. And I said, well, let's amend that bill. And the amendment would be that we're going to require all public school children to go into a homeschool setting and be tested.
Bingo.
Because my concern was they weren't keeping up, because the people I know that have homeschooled their kids, they do a fantastic job using the Iowa curriculum.
I work every week with Debbie Critchfield. You know Debbie.
Oh, very well.
And she sets up all the guests lined up on what we call Cassia County School Days. And I know Galen Smyre's been a dear friend of mine for over 40 years.
Was with him yesterday for a few hours.
And I have the highest regard for the Cassia County school systems, the Minidoka, Twin Falls, Jerome. I absolutely think it's a slap in the face, the way education is being attacked in this state by a certain few.
They do a great job. I love the administrators in Idaho. It's my battles have been with the union itself, and back into the mid 2005, 6, 7, 8, and under their twice removed now former executive director, we had some real hard times. Things have gotten better. Galen's a great guy, and I met with Superintendent Cox yesterday at the Minidoka School District.
Right.
And I'm going out today when we're done here, and I'll visit St. Nicholas School in Rupert, a private Catholic school that does a phenomenal job.
I've got to break in and have a couple of words. I got to pay the bills, Bob. You know what that's like. I want to tell everybody about Cameron and Siemens Insurance. When you think about life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, and employee benefits, don't forget Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Highway 24 in Rupert. It's so easy to get a connection with them. All you have to do is call. Make an appointment. They can, and they will help you. Very dedicated and responsive to your needs. Don't forget, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. The professionals, and they are the best. Also, Merry Christmas wishes from a good friend of ours, and I know Bob knows this man, and that's Senator Kelly Anthon. He has been really digging in to help all of his constituents and the entire state of Idaho as a senator for this state of Idaho, and he really cares, and it shows. He wishes all of you a very Merry Christmas. Senator Kelly Anthon, Merry Christmas wishes. There you go. Let's jump into the other subjects that you were just talking about. You mentioned education, and then you had three that you mentioned, healthcare. What was the third one I wanted to...
Economic development.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about that. We are seeing, I think, a charge, if you will, kind of a cavalry charge coming into the state of Idaho. Look at Burley's growth. Look at the housing problems, which is a good thing, trying to find housing. Twin Falls. It looks like there's a real, hey, let's go to Idaho, let's invest, let's live there. What do you think?
Well, I think people want to come to Idaho. We don't have to sell Idaho on we have some good hunting, we have some good fishing, we have some good camping, we have some good golfing, we have some good skiing, water and or snow. We have the best in the country in all of those regards. You know what people want to know about Idaho? What's the education system like, and what's the workforce like? You have in the Magic Valley some of the lowest unemployment in the whole state of Idaho.
Right.
And you know what I'm hearing from Galen yesterday and Dr. Cox out at the Minidoka School District? Employers can't find workers.
Oh, I know that's true.
They can't find workers. So the College of Southern Idaho is doing a phenomenal job. I'll be meeting with Dr. Fox tomorrow morning to talk about this. We need to focus more on career technical. And it was a conversation I had this morning visiting with your wife, Zeb, everyone doesn't need a 4-year baccalaureate degree.
Absolutely.
Or even a 2-year associate degree.
No.
They just need some sort of training.
We have forgot the skilled jobs of being an electrician, being a plumber, whatever. And right now, I can tell you this, one of our plumber himself told me when he was here the last time, you better take care of me because there's not many of us left.
Electricians are the same way. You talk to the utility companies, they can't find linemen. The linemen in their businesses, whether it be Idaho Power, Vista Utilities up in northern Idaho, Rocky Mountain Power, the linemen are our ages, Zeb.
But what do we do, though, Bob, to get the work ethic reinstilled? It has to start in our school system.
Yes, it does, and that was another conversation I had today. I spent this year serving on the governor's higher ed task force, and we met with a number of employers, and they told us when people come in for an interview, in the job hours are 8 to 5, a young person would say, do you mean I have to be to work at 8 o'clock every day? Well, you know what I say to that? No, you have to be to work at 10 minutes to 8 every day because it starts at 8 o'clock.
That's right.
And so we've got to reinstill that ethic. And then the soft skills. They don't have the soft skills anymore of showing up on time, or they've got pierced.
Or dressing accordingly.
Or tattoos all over their face.
Yeah.
And they want to deal with the public. I'm getting carried away. You're getting me fired up, Zeb. I like that because I'm kind of a redneck in a little bit of that way.
No, because I've had it happen to me. I've put out a couple of years ago when I was looking for more salespeople. You wouldn't believe the caliber of people that showed up at my doorstep. You wouldn't believe how they were dressed or undressed. You wouldn't believe how they were going to go out and represent me to the public. I don't think so.
No, I wouldn't think so, and I hope you told them that you better turn around because the door's going to hit you in the butt on the way out.
Quickly. No, but it's a problem today, Bob, that you as a politician and us as a state we need to address because there's a lot of jobs available, good paying jobs, but people don't want to work.
People, Governor Otter has said this for the last year plus, and I couldn't agree more with him. In the fact that there are 23,000 unemployed in Idaho, and there are 23,000 plus jobs that need to be filled. And guess what, Zeb? They don't line up. So we've got to do a better job in the education system by training those people in the career technical aspect of it, and what the school districts are doing, what Dr. Smyer is doing in the Cassia County School District, what Dr. Fox is doing at CSI, and working with the high schools. Phenomenal programs in the career technical side of things.
But how do you reinvent the wheel of what it was like when I was a little boy and I was working at 14? And how do you reinvent the wheel that you can be a success? You can use the talents and the assets that God gave you. You can achieve anything you want to if you get off your dead butt and go to work. That has been diminished, and I'll stand toe-to-toe with anybody that says it hasn't.
So you didn't start working until you were 14?
You know what I mean, Fritz. I worked on the family farm before I got any money.
I grew up in Wallace, Idaho. You ever heard of Wallace?
I have been there many times.
I was a paper boy as a young boy, and I was telling your wife, I can remember the first ski coat I bought, $35, and I paid for it over 3 months, a little bit with each month with my paper money. Those skills start at home.
That's right.
With good parenting. Those skills start at home with good parenting. And when I was a kid in school, if you misbehaved, you got a big wood paddle from the teacher or the principal.
Bingo.
And guess what happened when you got home? You got a bigger wood paddle.
I don't even want to think about that. My dad was a former boxer.
Oh.
And so when Mrs. Kiltz sent home a note that I had done something wrong, the end of the world as we know it was coming.
You were the punching bag.
Oh, my.
You were the
Things could have got a little tough.
Discipline was an important thing.
And I loved it. I can look back honestly and say whether it was Mrs. Kiltz rapping my knuckles in elementary school or my dad showing me the light, it didn't hurt me at all.
No, and you became a better man for that.
Exactly right.
And that's what we need to reinstill in the young people today. And the young parents need to realize how the upbringing should be.
I want to talk to you about health care in just a minute. I got to get a weather forecast here. 60 seconds. We'll be right back with Bob Bob Nanini, running for a lieutenant governor for the state of Idaho. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company, CPAs that have been serving all of this area for well over 50 years with the best of tax return preparation, tax planning, payroll services, retirement planning. They are the best. That's not brag, that's a fact. 2 offices, Burley and Rupert, serving you. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. And right now, here's the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for Zebeth Ranch, and honestly, it's rather nice for the end of November. I'm still waiting for those snow showers so I can get up there and go skiing, but here's your weather forecast for today. Mostly sunny skies, going to be a little bit on the breezy side, high of 40. Tonight, mostly clear and calm with a low of 22. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, high of 43, more clouds rolling in. Thursday evening with a low of 27. For Friday, mostly sunny, high of 47, looking at an overnight low of 30. As we look ahead towards Sunday, we do have a very slight chance of snow showers in the forecast. That is your weather for Zebeth Ranch.
Thank you, Gino. We appreciate it. And don't forget, it's about time to get your 1099s and W-2s out and your tax planning before the end of the year. Contact Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company in Burley and Rupert. Simply the best. We're talking with a candidate for Idaho's lieutenant governor, and that's Bob Nanini. Nice to have him on the air. He's a straight shooter. I've enjoyed that. What about health care? This is a mess that is, it's kind of like wiping your shirt after you spill salts on it. The more you wipe it, the worse it gets.
Yeah, well, it's very frustrating, and I tell our 2 U.S. senators, Senator Risch and Senator Crapo, how frustrated I am. I can remember a couple years ago when we were told, oh, well, wait till we have the U.S. Senate. Well, we got control. We, the Republican Party, have control of the U.S. Senate and couldn't get anything done. Obama just kept vetoing what they would do. Yeah. Well, wait till we have the White House, and we can get it done. We'll repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. Well, we've seen over the last 6-8 months how that's gone now that we have President Trump there. And Mitch McConnell and the crazy senators, and excuse me, again, I get fired up.
John McCain.
Oh, my gosh. Collins and Murkowski, the ladies from Maine and Alaska, deserting the Republican Party so we don't have 50 votes, so Mike Pence, the president of the Senate, could break a tie and we could repeal this mess. It's been a fiasco, a disaster, and it's made it unaffordable and no good quality.
Bob, honestly,
we got to take care of Idaho.
We have to.
We can't wait for Washington.
Look at the Medicaid and the Medicare problems, and the supposed issuing of saying there's, like, help me if I'm wrong on this, 78,000 Idahoans.
It's actually down to the low 60,000s right now because unemployment's so low. A lot of those people that were in the gap have found work, and their employer provides coverage.
Okay, but I have said on my program for a long time, and I've talked to Representative Fred Wood about this and Kelly Anthon and others, that, if you've got a problem with Medicaid, maybe we ought to go on a file-by-file, case-by-case basis and find out really who's eligible and who isn't, because we've got a lot of derelicts and deadbeats that are on the system.
How about if we did drug testing?
Amen.
How about if we did drug testing?
Amen.
I've tried that over the years to institute that, and I've heard from the Department of Health and Welfare, well, that might be too expensive to do. Well, then let's do it random drug testing. So if there's 5 recipients and they don't know if it's going to be A, B, C, D, or E that's going to be tested, hopefully they're all off of drugs, because we cannot continue to support all these people when unemployment's so low. They can go get a job. They get a job cleaning a dairy operation. They get a job at a McDonald's. They can get a job, but we make it too easy for them to get welfare assistance.
Is it a problem, though, healthcare in general, kind of a big umbrella, that it can be cleaned up, or should the government get the heck out of Dodge and leave it alone?
Well, there are some things we could do privately where the government could get out of the way, and that would be opening up the laws on any willing provider. It's a statute in Idaho which would allow more providers to participate in networks. We could do transparency, so a person could shop between facilities and hospitals about what it would cost to get a shoulder repaired or orthoscopic knee surgery. I did that myself years ago, and I found out between 2 facilities in northern Idaho that I could save thousands of dollars if I went to one facility over the other. So there are things that can be done.
Yeah, but we need to stimulate competition in the industry, not take it apart and throw it away.
Well, that stimulates it.
Yeah, I know, but the way they want to do it on one single payer, that will never work. It'll kill health care.
It will, and we should be able to go across state lines.
Absolutely.
And buy insurance. I mean, why can't I go to Blue Cross of Wyoming?
Yeah.
Or Blue Cross of Utah or another provider? It only has to be a company domiciled in Idaho.
That's right.
And we've worked on these issues. I'm one of 105 legislators. And the old saying in the Boise Capitol is, it takes 18, 36, and 1, meaning you have to have 18 of 35 senators pass something, 36 of 70 House of Representative members pass something, and one governor willing to sign that bill.
Yeah.
And so we continue to push on these conservative ideas, these free market ideas, and we'll continue to fight. That's why I want to run. I want that bigger platform, so I have a chance to be on the Zeb Bell Show.
Well, what does that bigger platform entail, though? I mean, would it diminish somewhat of your power, or would it open up a wider horizon for you as Lieutenant Governor?
My opinion, it opens up a wider horizon. 8 years in the Idaho House. I've got my rack card here with me. You can see I'm the most conservative member of the Idaho House when I served there. I'm proud of that. And I'm not just saying that, as we Canadians will tout our own whistles and blow our own horns and do all of that stuff. This is the Idaho Freedom Foundation. This is the American Conservative Union out of Washington, D.C. These are third parties that judge our voting records. Who's the most conservative House member? Well, Nonini when he was in the House. Who's the most conservative senator? Nonini when he's in the Senate. I want that platform as Lieutenant Governor to work with my House colleagues, my Senate colleagues, and say, come on, let's get these good things done for Idaho. Enough lollygagging around.
You know, I've enjoyed having you on the program. Half hour went really fast, fast.
I thought I was scheduled for 2 hours.
No, but we could fill it, I'll bet you that. No, Bob, I wish you a lot of luck, and I certainly learned a lot, not only about you, but also your stance on various issues. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Nonini for Lieutenant Governor, and of course, he's making the run this year going into 2018. And, Bob, I certainly appreciate your time.
Thanks. I'll let you know next time I'm down in this area. I love Idaho. It's a great state. And if I'm the Lieutenant Governor, I'll help make it greater.
You better stop in and see us again. Thank you. Bob Nonini, and I appreciate him being on the air. Before I go to the news, I'm going to tell you, too, that thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. Great big stock cow sale going on at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard coming up Monday, December 11th, and the sale starts at high noon. Come early and look at all the cows. They're going to have a lot of early consignments, 200 young cows, 150 middle-aged cows, cows of all ages at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley at the Burley Livestock Commission Company. Don't forget, Burley Livestock Sale with Merv May, Lance Udy, Cade Rogge, they are the best serving you. Big stock cow sale coming up on December 11th at high noon. Don't miss it. Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Next hour, we've got tax specialist Robert McGee coming on the program. And then at 10:30, immigration specialist Maria Espinoza. So we've got a lot of things coming up over the next hour right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Don't forget the Denny's annual Christmas party, December 14th. We're going to be over there broadcasting live and direct from 8 to 11. Door prizes. Santa Claus is going to be there. Register for that great big beautiful recliner provided to us by Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Go in, have a meal, sign your ticket, put your telephone number on there, and they will absolutely just serve you the best food at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Got to run to the news from CBS. We'll be back in 7 minutes. And a good morning again. Zeb at the Ranch, good morning to you right here on KBAR and streaming live all over the world on ZebBell.com. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Before we have our guest on the phone. Merry Christmas wishes from Magic Valley Carpet. These are really neat folks over at 613 D Street in Rupert. You be sure and get a hold of them today. And if you got company coming, you better get that carpet laid in there right now. Merry Christmas from Magic Valley Carpet in Rupert. And Merry Christmas from Butte Irrigation, 116 South, 600 West of Paul, and at Red Cap Corner on Kimberly Road, your Zomatic dealer. Oh, for all your irrigation needs, they'll get you wet. Butte Irrigation, wishing you and yours a Merry Christmas, along with Streamline Precision. I'll tell you what, Tim and the crew at 120 South, 100 West of Burley, they are the best. They can do it all. Manufacturing, material handling, food-grade equipment, conveyors, commodity mixing. The list goes on. Call my best friend, Tim. I'll tell you, he's a good old boy at 431-7314 or 678-9204. Streamline Precision, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Oh, and by the way, our dear friend, Representative Fred Wood, cares about the state of Idaho, cares about you and your family, and he understands the problems in Idaho and wants to work with you and for you as your representative, and he wishes you a very Merry Christmas. Thank you, Fred Wood. Wow, we got to get right to the phone line right now, and we're going to talk about a subject that, oh boy, a lot of people are upset about, and that's taxes and tax reform, and we have a tax specialist on the line. Robert McGee, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Very well, thank you.
Okay, I hate taxes. I hate talking about taxes, but boy, I'm telling you, what about this tax package that the Republicans are trying to get through? And then you've got about a half a dozen or so Republicans that are on the fence, especially John McCain. What's going on back here in Washington, D.C.? Please tell us, Robert.
I guess Trump isn't cleaning the swamp or draining the swamp fast enough. That's what it looks like. This latest proposal by the Republicans, some of them, is to have an automatic trigger where you have a tax increase if they don't raise enough revenue. Because, with these tax cuts and everything, they think they might not raise enough revenue to pay the expenses. And if that happens, there's going to be an automatic tax increase built into this tax reduction plan. And I think it's sort of a slippery, slimy thing because we'll see the tax benefits, we'll see the tax cuts before the election, and the tax increase might not take place until after the election. And they won't even have to pass additional legislation for the tax increase. So it'll go in automatically if this proposal goes through.
Okay, but Robert, I'm not a tax expert like you are, and Wheels, turn this man up just a little bit, please, so we can hear him better. But, Robert, what do you do? I mean, they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't, they're damned if they don't try. What would you do if you were all of a sudden cracking the whip over the Republicans and the Democrats?
Oh, that's a fantasy that'll never come true. Well, I would have a single tax rate, not 5 or 7 like they project now. I'd get rid of the estate tax, which it looks like they're going to keep. I would reduce the corporate tax rate like they're going to do. It's 35% now. They want to drop it to 20. That's a step in the right direction. They want to get rid of this worldwide tax system and have what they call a territorial system so that corporations don't get taxed twice on the same income. That way they'll be able to bring the profits home to America, which is what Trump wants to do. That's a good thing. I'd like to simplify the tax code, and so we could actually put it on a postcard when we submit our returns. I don't think that's going to happen with this current legislation, though. There's just too many things that would have to be done. I hope I'm wrong in that regard. I definitely would not have a tax trigger. That tax trigger thing, the way it works, they have sort of a static budget projection where they project how much revenue they're going to generate with the new tax rates. And then if their projections are off and they don't get enough, they automatically raise the tax rates. And, they don't have to have additional legislation to do that. It just goes in automatically, and they can always blame somebody else, some committee for that, instead of taking individual responsibility. And the problem with their projections is, just like with the 1986 Tax Reform Act, when Reagan dropped the top rate to 28%, we actually raised more revenue than we did when the top rate was 70%. And the reason is people would work harder, they'd work longer, they'd work overtime, they'd take on second jobs, they'd start reporting income that used to be off the books. People would invest more jobs would be created. All kinds of reasons why the tax revenue actually increased. But the problem with the Reagan tax cut was that he didn't cut spending. Spending continued to go up. And so when you reduce taxes but spending goes up, you're going to have deficits. And that's the same thing that's going to happen now, because nobody's talking seriously about reductions in spending. It's just tax cuts. So we're going to have deficits unless we can raise more revenue by cutting tax rates.
Okay.
And nobody's addressing that issue. That's a very important issue, but everybody's sort of kicking the can down the road on that one.
Robert, when you talk about the and Wheels, you're going to have to ride the gain on this. When you start talking about tax cuts and cutting spending, I have a book on my desk that absolutely knocked my socks off when I read all the wastage that goes on in Washington, D.C., all the way from funding a organization to study how fast a hamster can run on a treadmill. I mean, there are a bunch of lunatic items that we waste money on. So I don't want anybody in government to tell me that we can't sit down with a pencil and an eraser and cut spending. Do you feel the same way I do?
Oh, exactly, yeah. And in fact, I used to be a consultant for some USAID tax projects and accounting reform projects, and I could see firsthand from the inside all the billions of dollars that are wasted on our foreign aid programs and a lot of military stuff. You know, some of these senators and congressmen will have stuff built that the Army doesn't even want or need just because it's in their congressional district. There's a lot of that going around. And, well, some of the military spending like 40,000 or 60,000 troops are in Germany, for instance. What that amounts to is that American taxpayers are subsidizing the German defense, and not just Germany, but France and every other country where we have troops. And the last time I checked, World War II ended in 1945. I think it's time the German taxpayers picked up the tab for their own defense instead of forcing American taxpayers to do that.
Absolutely.
Right now, we're also subsidizing pensions in Greece. It's indirect. It's sort of under the radar, but International Monetary Fund and so forth are helping to keep Greece afloat because of their spending habits. And American taxpayers are picking that up indirectly. In Greece, you can retire at mid-50s or something and get 80% of your salary. And American taxpayers are paying for that kind of stuff.
That's ridiculous.
Not many people know about that, but that's hundreds of millions of dollars or maybe billions of dollars. Nobody knows. And there's all kinds of stuff like that going on. If we just eliminated the waste, we might be able to balance the budget. And studies have been done by various conservative and libertarian think tanks and so forth. They come up with dozens of suggestions for cutting spending. All we have to do is go through that list and start cutting. And theoretically, it's easy to do because we know where a lot of the bodies are buried.
Yeah.
Some things that are coming up are new, like these congressional slush funds to pay off sexual harassment cases. But that's chump change. That's only maybe $14 million or something. But it sends a message, too. If we hold congressional feet to the fire, make them actually do what they're supposed to do, things could change.
Absolutely.
Trump's trying to do that, but he's sort of limited into what he can do because the Senate isn't cooperating. The leadership there, McConnell, for instance, he still has that 60-vote rule. If he got rid of that and had the 51 votes, we could get a lot more judges, a lot of other people in there, get a lot more legislation passed. It's just sitting there gathering dust at the moment.
Absolutely.
So there are solutions. It's just difficult to implement them.
Robert, let me ask you this. You said something a few moments ago that I wanted to elaborate on, and tell me I'm wrong. I am not an accountant. I am not a tax man. I'm just saying a little common sense from an old cowboy here in Idaho. I've heard many of the Democrats and the liberals say, well, you can't give those corporations that kind of a discount from 35% down to 20%. Why, that's obscene. Wait a minute. If that cutting it back to a 20% tax rate is going to stimulate more growth and incorporate more businesses being grown and prospering here in the United States and bring more jobs back to this country, the rollover effect of what good that 20% will do, it will far exceed keeping them at a 35% tax rate, won't it?
Yeah, it would. And part of the problem is the mentality in Washington. Some of these economies, they own 100% of our income and graciously some of it. 35% is the highest corporate tax in the world in industrial countries. That's why there are some in the United States by some companies are leaving. It makes sense from an economic perspective. If you're paying 35% in the United States, you can pay 10 or 15% somewhere else, you would go somewhere else. And if you're a company in Europe, let's say, and you're looking for a place to invest, you'd have to pay 35% of your profits to the United States, but 0% in Estonia because they have a 0% tax rate in certain circumstances. You might as well just go to Estonia.
Yeah.
Estonia is in a good location. You know, it's close to Western Europe, close to Scandinavia, close to waterways for transport. Estonia is a great place to do business, and you don't have to pay any corporate tax. So if we dropped ours from 35 to 20%, we would be more competitive, but the average is about 20%. So it's not like we would become a tax haven. We would just become an average country when it comes to the tax rate.
Robert, let me ask you this question in the time remaining here this morning. The tax bill. How can you ever sit down with all the different personalities and all the wants and all the don't wants and come up with a bill that is going to satisfy and appease everybody? Don't you have to keep tweaking it and working on it? But at least with the power of the House and the power of the Senate and the power of the Oval Office being on the Republican side, for crying out loud, get something done. Don't you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. The problem is the Democrats are united against the plan, and the Republicans are split. I mean, talking about McCain and some of those other people, McCain is, rhino, I guess would be a nice way to put it. And there are other ones like that, too. I mean, they only have a 52-48 majority, and if you have a half a dozen Republican senators that vote Democratic, you don't really have a Republican majority. And there's not much we can do about that in the short run. I mean, we could replace them with people who are more sensible, but that's up to the voters. That's the thing. And sometimes the voters don't make the right choices. I mean, look at Nancy Pelosi, for instance. They keep reelecting her in California. And, if we have enough people like that, you're not going to be able to get much done. And the 60-vote rule on the Senate has got to go. You have to have 60 affirmative votes to pass anything. That's just the rule the Senate made. It's not anything that's in the Constitution. And if Mitch McConnell would get rid of that rule, like the Democrats did, then we could pass more legislation. So Mitch McConnell is a major stumbling block because he insists on keeping that 60-vote rule.
What about one person?
But it's up to Mitch McConnell to do that, unless they take away his leadership position. That might be easier.
Yeah.
Take it away from him and give it to somebody who would go with the 50+1 rule instead.
I agree.
That would solve that problem, but he has so much power, and he's petty and vindictive from what I've read. So, members of Congress hesitate to speak out to get rid of McConnell.
Let me ask you this question then, Robert. What about the middle class? The middle class always gets kicked from here to the other side of the street and then back again. Do you, as you look at the tax reform bill as it stands today, are you satisfied, nervous, scared? What's it going to do to the middle class of America?
Well, I think it will make marginal improvements because a lot of the people in the middle class will pay less in taxes. Again, it's difficult to say for sure because we don't know what the final version is, but there'll be a slight decrease for most people. Only about half the people who work pay the federal income tax anyway. A lot of them are below the threshold, and probably even more of them will be below the threshold when they increase the standard deduction. But 50% of the taxpayers pay 97% of the total taxes. So, that's a big chunk, and we're talking about the middle class. So it's the middle class that pays the vast majority, and the top 1% pays something like 38% of the total taxes. I think they're getting squeezed too hard, and they're entitled to a tax break, although it's difficult to sell that to the public because it sounds like you're pandering to the rich. But actually, they're already paying more than their fair share.
Right.
I think on average, most people will benefit by the package they have now, but it's not anywhere near as good as it could be. The top rate is 39.6%, according to one version of the bill. And under Reagan, he dropped the rates from 70% down to 28%. So even if we could get back to 28%, we could have another tax revolution, so to speak, in a good way, and we could create more jobs. Even with the tax bill they're proposing now, it'll help the economy more than it'll hurt, I think. But if they just do a duplicate of the Reagan thing where they drop rates to 28 instead of 39.6, that would be even better.
Yeah.
So if I were in charge of cracking the whip, I would say 28% or less, and I'd have one rate instead of 5 or 7, because I think it's inherently unfair to treat people differently. It's discriminating against the most productive people in society if you have a graduated tax rate system. I also mentioned that's the system Karl Marx recommended in the Communist Manifesto.
That's right.
A graduated income tax system as a means of destroying the private capital.
That's right. Robert, one final thought before I run out of time, and I was talking to a guest on my program just a half hour ago about this. What about a national sales tax? And I'm kind of leaning in favor of that, and I'll tell you why. Because there's a lot of deadbeats and derelicts on the system that don't pay any tax, and quite frankly, they should, I think, somehow pay their own fair share to help contribute to our economy and the nation's welfare. What do you think?
That's a tough one, because a lot of people who advocate a national sales tax would lump that on top of the income tax. So then they could have two kinds of tax increases. And that's what they have in Europe. You know, they call it a value-added tax, but it's basically like a national sales tax, and they also have the income tax. That would give Congress more opportunities to squeeze even more blood out of us. If you completely eliminated the income tax and had a national sales tax instead, that might be a step in the right direction, but then you're going to distort capital flows and everything, because the prices of everything are going to go up, and it's going to make us less competitive unless we have waivers like they do for the value-added tax, and that would complicate things as well. As you mentioned, a lot of people don't pay tax, and you know, for the federal income tax, only about half the people who work pay that anyway, whereas if you had the national sales tax, more people would pay. So you could spread it around, and the people who are already paying wouldn't have to carry as much of the burden. So there are some advantages of that tax, and also if it's sort of an egalitarian thing where everybody pays the same rate, that would be a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
But again, it could be pretty high. Like in some of the Scandinavian countries, the value-added tax is 25%. And so the only way you can avoid paying that is by not buying anything.
Yeah.
And most people like to buy things. So, again, they wouldn't be able to avoid paying it because they have to spend a large chunk of their income. Some people spend over 100% of their income, and they just go into credit card debt.
Yeah.
So I'm not really excited about a national sales tax. It may be an improvement over the income tax if they can totally abolish the income tax. But if they keep it and add the sales tax on top, that would be a bad move.
Robert McGee, a tax specialist, and I enjoy having him on the program. Robert, I want to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas. Thank you for taking the time to be on the show, and we'll call you again in the future. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Robert McGee, tax specialist, talking about and we hear it every minute, every hour of the day, possibility of tax reform. I want to remind you about the Bennett boys. They're going to have a great big sale coming up this Saturday. Joe Bennett and the crew, the Bennett boys auction service. Call them at 539-0111. The Alan Wilding auction. It's going to take place at 11 o'clock this Saturday over in Gooding, located at 203 3rd Avenue West in Gooding. Don't forget that. Oh, my goodness, they're going to have lunch over there by the Deaf Youth Program. They're going to have antique furniture. They're going to have antique glassware. Woo! This is going to be quite a sale. Be sure and check it out. They've got old radio cabinets. They've got drop leaf coffee tables. They've got a lot of neat things over there at the Allen Wilding Auction this Saturday, December 2nd, 11 a.m. over in Gooding. Look for the sale signs. Sale put on by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. For the Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Call Joe at 539-0111. Oh, and by the way, look who's back on the program. My goodness, my old buddy Reese at Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview in Twin Falls. Merry Christmas from Sportsman's Warehouse. This is the place for you to go for all your Christmas shopping. They've got something for everybody, whether they like hunting and shooting, archery, fishing, boating, electronics, clothing, footwear. It's all there at Sportsman's Warehouse. Just go in the door and just have fun shopping at Sportsman's Warehouse for Christmas. And you know what? They've got expert advice to help you in all the departments, too. Check it out. Great big Merry Christmas wish to you and your family from Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview in Twin Falls. Hello, Reese and the good folks over at Sportsman's Warehouse. Got to tell you what's going to happen this next half hour. And I've already talked to my good buddy Wheels over at the main studios. We have got to leave a little bit early today on the program to get to a doctor's appointment. And I certainly apologize for having to take off early. Wheels is going to play a little extra music, maybe some Christmas music to get you in the shopping mood and everything. And we're going to hit the trail a little bit early. But we've got coming up in just a few moments a lovely lady, Maria Espinoza, and she is the National Director of the Remembrance Project. And I've had her on the program many times in the past, and I'm looking forward to her conversation this morning. Right now, a minute early, we're going to kind of send this back over to Wheels for the break at the bottom of the hour, and we'll be back. Zeb at the Ranch, don't you go away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
And welcome back, and thank you for tuning in, Zeb at the Ranch, our final segment. And I'm going to welcome right away to the phone line a lady that I really enjoy having on the show, Maria Espinoza, the National Director for the Remembrance Project. Maria, good morning to you.
Good morning, Zeb. Thank you so much for having me on again.
I'm apologizing up front for having a shorter segment than we had planned this morning, but I have an appointment I have to get to. Maria, I want to talk to you in general. What about the immigration in the United States, illegal and illegal? I have made the statement, and I've had many people on my program agree with Donald Trump, and I agree with Donald Trump, that we need to look at our whole card right now. We need to find out who's coming into this country on a legal basis, and we certainly need to shut the door on anyone trying to come into this country illegally. What are your thoughts on behalf of the Remembrance Project?
Well, absolutely, Zeb. Let's take a look at it this way. I think every one of your listeners should think about what they would do in their own homes. If there's chaos in your home, the first thing you want to do is close that door and stop the chaos, to stop the illegal invasion, and or those not invited into your home, and start looking at who you have within your home. In other words, let's stop. I would stop all illegal all immigration. Certainly do everything that we can to stop illegal immigration, remove those who do not belong here. But also, we need to go ahead and vet those who were allowed in, especially those who were allowed in through Obama's very lax refugee asylum program. So that's what I would do first and foremost, because our number one priority is to protect the sovereignty of our nation, but also protect our American people and make sure that we have safe communities, Zeb. That is basic and first and foremost.
I was at a meeting not too long ago, Maria, and I was chastised by a couple of people because they had heard me on the radio mock the vetting process of getting into this country. I made the statement that how in the world can they say they're 100% sure who these people are when they don't have any county courthouses, they don't have any computer files. We are basically, in almost all the cases, taking their word for it as to who they are and what they've done. And these people mocked me and said I was against the refugees coming into this country, which in effect I guess I am, but I want to know 100% what these people are and who they are. What about the vetting process? Am I wrong?
No, you're right on target, and that's first and foremost. And again, take a look at this. You speak with any family member whose loved one was murdered, killed, by, or even harmed and survived by an illegal alien, someone who shouldn't have been in a country, or someone who was not thoroughly vetted. Let's take a look at the New York City jihadi. Look at him. He came here legally, and then he brought in 23 additional family members. What is their culture? What is their mindset, Zeb? Now, we absolutely have to understand. We need to put that political correctness away and stop listening to the fake news and take a look and see what is our experience. Look at San Bernardino. Look at Florida. Again, New York City. That tells us that we have to be better at vetting, better at realizing that we can't bring everyone into this country. We cannot do that. It's much better, and certainly better for the pocketbook and every tax-paying American. If there is an issue, Zeb, I believe that we have to take care of that issue there. We can train people, and they can be sent there to assist whatever needs those countries are going through. But I'm talking about humanitarian. I'm not talking about nation building. Those are the things that we can do. If they have a crisis of some sort, let's help them in their country. Not bringing them here. We're changing our America. You can see how our history is under attack. You look at even our monuments, our U.S. Constitution. We're bringing in people who don't understand what it is to be an American, and they don't value the liberties and freedoms that we hold so dearly.
Well, and there's one other aspect of this that I really want you to touch on this morning in the time remaining. I get sick and tired and outright mad when I hear somebody say, well, Zeb, we've got to have a diversity of our cultures here in this country. Mm-hmm. Wait a minute, Maria. I don't want to see the American culture change. I don't want to see our heritage change. I want to see respect for our Constitution. I don't want to bring in a whole bunch of people that are going to infiltrate various areas of the United States and little by little, like a cancer, eat away at the culture that has made this country great.
Absolutely, Zeb. Thank you so much for saying, telling the truth and saying what you just mentioned is very, very important. And we will lose our country, and we are losing our country, our culture, our values. And we're not talking about nationalities. I don't like the word diversity either, because diversity means changing the way America is.
That's right.
That's what it means to me.
That's right.
My father came here the right way from Mexico, waited in line and everything, and we're so appreciative of America. My mom's a fifth-generation Texan, but, Dad loved this country, and we never saw the old country was, Mexico was his old country, just like so many people. We don't want to change America. If people come here, they have to learn the language. They have to get in step with our American culture and American way. So thank you for saying that. And that is what we're fighting here ultimately, that is change in this great country.
We have a caller with a quick question. Maria, stand by. Caller, I'm going to ask you to keep it very short because I'm out of time almost in this segment. Go ahead, please.
Well, speaking of culture and illegal aliens, just in the news as of yesterday, Hispanic illegal he worked in Jerome, but he committed a terrible murder in Elko, and they found the lady. Well, he showed him where he had taken her decapitated head and put it somewhere, and then buried her body somewhere else. You know, I know that there are people here in this country that are capable of terrible things, but we don't need to import that kind of. It's just killing our country. This kind of culture shock. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, if you would, please, Maria.
We don't need to import additional crime, Zeb. And the thing is this: I don't believe in illegal aliens who are the good illegal aliens. If they were good people, then they would not be here illegally.
That's a very valid point. Real quick, before I have to go today, and I apologize again for having to cut the segment short, Maria, can you give me one good reason, just one, as to why I shouldn't have the animus against the sanctuary city policies like Bill de Blasio in New York or Rahm Emanuel in Chicago? Tell me where I'm wrong. I absolutely despise the concept of sanctuary cities.
You are absolutely correct in feeling that way, so don't give it another thought. And I encourage your listeners to stand up and speak out and call if you are a sanctuary city or a sanctuary state, then you need to call your elected officials weekly, have them on your speed dial, and also recruit. Get your neighbors and family members to call as well, because they will give under pressure, and you need to educate them. And it's up to us. It's as you can see, Zeb, it's up to we the people to protect our country.
You know, with the de Blasios and the Rahm Emanuels and then the mess that we have in San Francisco and others on the left coast, is this a problem that's insurmountable right now, Maria? Because they just basically are thumbing their nose at the laws of this country and our federal government.
We are not a lost cause, Zeb. We have a great several organizations in California who are fighting. And Robin Vitson in California with We the People Rising is our state coordinator for the Remembrance Project there. And I know they're going to bat left and right. So, again, I encourage people locally to gather with other groups and clubs and be heard and keep calling. Again, it's so important. And we will get these people out of office who do not legislate for the benefit of America or Americans. So, no, we can do this. There are a lot more of us, Zeb, than there are of the liberals. And even though the fake news doesn't share the right information, you know, they lie, they attack people who are pro-American, you know, we outnumber them. We just have to understand that the country needs us.
Let me ask you quickly, the Remembrance Project, how can people find out more? Where can they look you up?
Yes, sir. They will have to type in their URL bar our exact address because Google is playing games with us. So you can't do a search for us. You have to type it in your bar, which is www.theremembranceproject.org. Theremembranceproject.org. And the fact that Google is doing this to us, Zeb, tells me we're having an impact.
Absolutely. Maria, I want you to promise me something. Please, in the next couple of days, come back on the program. I love having you on the air. Maria Espinoza with the Remembrance Project. She's the national director. God bless you. Merry Christmas, and thank you for being on the program.
God bless you. Merry Christmas, and call anytime, Zeb.
Thank you very, very much. Very nice, very knowledgeable lady right there, Maria Espinoza, and she's one of my favorites to have on this show. Right now, we're going to do the weather forecast, and the weather brought to you by Scarro's Meats. Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657, or you can go to their website, scarrowmeats.com. Ooh, boy, listen to this. Smoked turkeys, marinated prime rib, just makes my mouth water. Smoked hams, breakfast bacon, all the brats. Oh, the list goes on and on. Delicious meats from Scarro's Meats. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch, and honestly, it's rather nice for the end of November. I'm still waiting for those snow showers so I can get up there and go skiing, but here's your weather forecast for today. Mostly sunny skies, going to be a little bit on the breezy side, high of 40. Tonight, mostly clear and calm with a low of 22. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, high of 43. More clouds rolling in for Thursday evening with a low of 27. For Friday, mostly sunny, high of 47, looking at an overnight low of 30. As we look ahead towards Sunday, we do have a very slight chance of snow showers in the forecast. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Number again to call, 324-7657. Delicious meats make your mouth water. They're changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Scarrows Meats. By the way, I want to say thank you to our major sponsor. They've ridden the horse with us for a long, long time, and we appreciate them. They always do the right thing because it matters. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And get ready for wintertime driving. The muck, the yuck, the snow, the ice. Ooh, it's coming. And don't forget they've got all the tires with the different tread designs to make sure you can get through all of those conditions. Stop in and see them today. 7 locations here in the Magic Valley. They've got all your tire chains. They do the best in brake service. Absolutely, I can guarantee that. And, of course, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. It's all there at all 7 locations. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. My apologies to you, the audience. We got to cut it short this morning. I've got to run to a doctor's appointment. Run is kind of an oxymoron. And my good friend Wheels, God bless that young man over at the station. He's going to kind of cover for us with a little Christmas music. Wheels, thank you, and we'll see everybody tomorrow morning at 8:06, where we always say the way things were are the way things ought to be. God bless.